Hey guys, it's Sam. Welcome back. If you're new, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you like what you see, hit that big subscribe button. I have one video already uploaded and I have a ton of videos planned for you guys, so stay tuned for those. But today I have such an exciting announcement for you guys. Get ready. Are you ready? Are you ready? Today I start my very first back to school playlist. I'm so excited to be sharing this with you guys. I am a college student, so these videos will be more related to upcoming freshmen or anyone who's in the process of college. So my video for today is an advice and tips video for anyone who is going into their freshman year of college. I just finished my freshman year, so I'm a sophomore now, and I would like to think that I have some tips and some tricks for you guys to make your freshman year so smooth and a nice transition and all of that good stuff. So without further ado, let's just hop right into the video. So I have my little handy dandy notebook with my 10 tips and advice for you guys. I hope these things are helpful for you. Personally, I wish I knew these before I went into college, but I learned the hard way, and I hope you guys don't have to learn the hard way. So that's why I'm here with this video. So let's just hop right in. So my very first tip for you guys is that homesickness can happen anytime throughout your first year, and it can come in any shape or size. For me personally, it came to me the very first night I got to school. I was being rushed from one thing to another after moving, going to Target and all those places to get extra stuff, and going to like those mandatory events, which we all loathe and hate. But I was just being so swept up in all of this like craze and just ridiculousness that I just like didn't fully understand that I was moving away from home. I wouldn't be at home with my parents. I wouldn't be going to the same school that I was at for the past 12 years. So it just like hit me that night and I was crying and it was just so horrible. But after I called my mom and she was like, you know what, if you still feel this way, by the end of the week we're coming back and we're picking you up. And I was like, okay, that sounds like a great deal. But the next day I was totally okay. So honestly, you just be aware. Maybe if it doesn't happen to you, just be aware that it may happen to you, because it's a lot. It's a huge transition. So it's very normal if you feel homesick. And if you do, and it's a little bit more severe than my case, go seek help. There's like a lot of people there to help you. So don't worry too much about it. My second piece of advice for you guys is that living with a roommate can be hard. And it can be extremely hard if you guys don't talk about the topics. I was so lucky enough to have a roommate agreement thing or form that I had to fill out with my roommate. So we talked about those awkward topics and things that were just like, we didn't really know if we could, talk to each other about them, because we've never really talked before. Like the first time we met was move-in day. So you just have to talk to them about it. And most likely your roommate will want to talk about it, but it'll just be so awkward and uncomfortable. So just make sure you talk to them about those things, like when you wake up or when you want to go to bed, or if you study in the room or not, like those things, because that is going to be crucial, very, very crucial. And your room is a place for you to escape, and you don't want to feel awkward in your own room. So just talk to them. My third piece of advice for you guys is when you're packing for school, you really need to sit down and think to yourself, when you're picking out your clothes or your shoes or this and that, ask yourself, do I really need this? Because in the long run, when you're asking yourself that, you don't really need it. I am a shoeaholic. I'm sorry, I'm admitting it. And so I brought a lot more shoes than I should have. So I now know, and I'm repacking for my sophomore year, to really think, because I know what shoes I will wear and what shoes I maybe will wear, and shoes that I just won't even like touch. They'll just like get a sheen of dust on them, and that's not very good for your shoes. So just ask yourself before, even if it's with decorations, ask yourself, you don't want to be lugging that back and forth between school and home. So just think. My fourth piece of advice for you guys is that if you're not doing so well in one of your classes first semester, don't worry about it. Honestly, all the professors and your teachers there are prepared and know that you're not gonna be doing the best you could. You know, this whole transition into this whole new world that you guys are in, like, they know that you're gonna be struggling at some point, and that may affect your grades. So don't stress out about it. I had a friend like this who was she was so homesick, and it like really affected her grades because she got sick all the time. And so she couldn't go to class because she didn't want to get anyone sick. So you just have to keep in mind that it's okay if you get sick your first semester. I got mono my first semester, and that totally sucked. But you just can't stress about it so much that it makes you sick and just not the person that you could be. So if you are struggling, go talk to the teacher. Go talk to your SI if you have SIs. Which is student instructors, which sit in your class, but whatever. And go talk to someone. Go ask, I had like a peer mentor that I went to go talk to. So go and talk to someone if you are struggling in a class, because again, there are people to help you. My fifth piece of advice for you guys is that if you don't like where you are at your first semester, don't start doubting it. Myself, personally, I doubted where I was at for school every once in a while my first semester, but once I got back from my winter break, it just changed. My life just flipped upside down. I met so many friends. I joined a sorority. I, was more active in in the involvement of my campus. I just had a better attitude about things, because I just think you go back from school, that really long break, and you just like, I don't know what it is, but I've heard from like multiple people, it's like, oh yeah, your spring semester is like so much better than your fall semester. So if you want to start doubting whether you should be at that school or not, you should wait till the end of your first year. Then you can start doubting it. And if you do, don't worry about it. Transferring is so big. Like, not even a big deal. Not a big deal. And a lot of people do it, so don't feel like you're all alone in that whole process of transferring to different schools and all that worriness and whatnot. My sixth piece of advice for you guys is that you should really start figuring out the best way for you to study. Once you do, you have created so much time where you can be studying more, because I know personally, again, I, through high school, never knew how to study, the right way to study for me, and I just didn't do as well as I could have in my classes because I was taking up so much time figuring out, well, how am I going to obtain all this information, and how am I going to remember it? So you just have to figure out the best way for you to study, and do that as soon as you can if you haven't already figured that out. My sixth piece of advice is kind of similar to the sixth one, is that you need to figure out your priorities, and you need to figure them out yesterday, because I'm going to tell you, you will have some of the toughest decisions to make when you are at college, whether it's I'm going to go study, or I'm gonna go party, or I'm gonna go hang out with friends, or I'm gonna eat pizza, or I'm gonna eat a salad. There's so many decisions that you have to make, and you have to make the right ones. You don't live with your parents anymore. You are on your own completely. So you just need to figure out your priorities and what kind of student you want to be. I mean, you're going to college to get a degree. So, I mean, that should be your highest priority, but then you have to like kind of make like a ranking of, so what's my next priority, what's my next priority, what's my next, so on and so forth. So just make sure you have a whole, you know, guideline and set rule for when you're trying to prioritize. My 8th piece of advice for you guys is that if you see something or hear something and it sounds interesting to you, go do it. Honestly, just go do it. If it sounds like really cool and you're like, oh, I did that in high school, then go do it. And if you had fun when you were doing it in high school, go do it. I can't tell you how many opportunities I missed when I was like, oh, that sounds really cool, but I can't do it because I have this class, or, you know, there's something that I always make up an excuse. But then I have friends who are in those clubs or those activities and they're like, oh yeah, it's so much fun, like you should join. And it's like, yeah, I wish I could, but now I have to wait an entire year to join that activity. So if it sounds interesting, go do it. So my 9th piece of advice for you guys is learn how to spend and spend it wisely. I know from my experience and from others that when you're looking at your bank account at the end of your first semester, it's not always how you like to see it. So you need to start making like either a plan for how much you're going to spend each month. I know that this upcoming year I will be making a strict budget for how much I can spend each, maybe I'll start out with each month, and then whenever I get closer to Christmas break, each week, because I am in a sorority and spring semester I will be getting a little, so I will have to be spending a lot on them. So we'll see how it goes. There's some things that sound tempting and sound awesome, but you just really don't need. So my last piece of advice for you guys, and I think is the most important out of all of them, is that you need to know how important it is to gain connections with your professors. I can't tell you enough how important this is. It can honestly make or break your grade. I had a experience where I lost a really important program that I had to do for my computer science class, and because I was like really close with my professor because I had her the previous semester, she was like, you know what, I know that this is not you just telling me that, oh, I lost it, and that I've been so responsible with my other programs. And so she was like, it's fine, you can turn it to me after the weekend. And so if I didn't have that connection with her, I don't know if she would have done that extension for me. If she didn't, my grade would not be the same if I didn't turn that in. So I'm so thankful because we have become, you know, I would hope almost friends. She's such an amazing woman. I absolutely love her. So you just need to know how important it is, even if it's just like your gen ed class, still make connections, because you never know. You could potentially change your major and they could be the head of that department or something, or like in that department, and they could eventually maybe put you in a job, like connect you through, you know, some company. So you never know how it's gonna turn out, but just try to make that effort, because once you do, it knows that they know that you're interested in that class, and that just says a lot to them. So just try and shoot them a few emails or go into their office hours. Just like try to make that effort. So guys, that is my 10 advices and tips for you guys. I hope this really helps you. I know when I was a freshman or an upcoming freshman, I was so nervous and just watched a million of these videos. I hope I can, you know, ease some of your worries and anxiousness. But if you like what you see, thumbs this video up. I have a lot more videos for you guys that are college related. If you do want a high school related video, comment down below because I would totally love to do that as well. I hope to see you guys next time. Bye!